Okay, y'all, I am back. It has felt like an eternity since I've been here, because I just felt like I had to take a break. But then I saw that I finally hit over 1,000 subscribers, and why is that a big deal? Because one, as a Saturn ruled person, accomplishments can seem like they take forever to get, but you will finally get them after some time, after some hard work, after some obstacles, baby steps. There's people who have channels on here, and it's not to compare or be jealous, but it's kind of crazy to see the differences between the energies and the alignments that people have, that somebody can have a channel with 4 videos and have 80,000 subscribers as opposed to people who have a lot of Saturn energy in their life and just progress, y'all. But nonetheless, I'm very happy. So I decided to start a new series. And I know one of you suggested this a while back, but I had to, gather my thoughts. And then if you follow me on social media, I've been doing a lot of Cancer sun readings, well, sun, moon, rising. Anybody who had Cancer placements in their birth chart, I was doing birthday interpretations. And so that took a long time because there was a whole bunch of people who wanted to do that. And so now I am settled and I am going to start my North Node series. So I'm going to start backwards. I'm not going to start with Aries. I'm going to go backwards and start with Pisces. So if you have a North Node in Pisces, then this video is for you. And I have a North Node in Pisces, so I can speak on this topic very, very well. Now, of course, remember, disclaimer, every interpretation that I'm doing with these series is not going to be 100% and resonate with you 100% because, of course, I'm not looking at your birth chart. A birth chart analysis can get much, much deeper, much more specific. So I always tell people this because I will get people who be like, I have that, they don't sound like me, da, 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 da. Much more complicated than just saying, here it is, and boom, boom, boom. Like, is it in conjunction with something? What house is it in? What degree is it in? All that matters. But again, I want to give a general interpretation of this placement. So if you have it, again, this video is for you. So North Node Pisces. Now in Vedic astrology, and I told y'all I study both Vedic and tropical, and I intertwine both. I just don't mention and say like, oh, this is Vedic and this is, because the general interpretations of the sign itself, it's the same. So in Vedic astrology, North Node is called Rahu, Rahu. And so, if you ever hear that, talking about the North Node, okay, the North Node of the moon. So North Node in Pisces, if you have North Node in Pisces, North Node represents everything that has to do with illusion, obsession, magic, futuristic type of things, because the North Node naturally rules over Aquarius. And of course, that does deal with futuristic things. Now, in tropical astrology, they say it's like, oh, it's your soul purpose, life purpose. But in Vedic, it's more of like whatever sign it's in, whatever house it's in, it can create illusion, obsession, like I said, a more mystical, magical type of thing, an energy, whatever sign that it is placed in. Now, in Pisces, Pisces rules over the 12th house of astrology that has everything to do that is outside of your element. So things like hospitals, jails, asylums, foreign traveling. A lot of times when people have 12th house placements, they usually travel overseas. And crazy enough, I ran into one of my old students at a store and I just randomly started talking to him about astrology. And this was like some months back. And I saw that he had 12th house placements. Literally, like last week, I saw that he was in Paris, living his best life. I was like, but again, 12th house placements, foreign land, all the way on the other side of the world, any kind of isolated places. A lot of times, people who become like monks or, people who just like to live alone by themselves on the top of the hill where no one's around, that is 12th house type of energy. Any kind of like monasteries, those kind of things too, any kind of sanctuaries, all that is seen through the 12th house or that Piscean type of energy, because Pisces in general is the most spiritual sign. It is like when you know a Pisces, if you know any Pisces, they tend to like absorb a lot of energy. They like to be alone. They like to self-isolate in order to recharge themselves. And I used to take that very personal when I would meet Pisces suns and they would be like, I just need my alone time. I'd be like, excuse me, I'm good energy, but it's not about you, okay? It's people's natural alignment. It has nothing to do with you personally. It's a lesson that I've learned, y'all. But anyways, again, the North Node, that obsession, whatever area it's in, whatever sign it's in, it also helps us achieve whatever it is or whatever goal that we want to. have as well. As somebody, again, who has a North Node in Pisces, and Pisces being the most spiritual sign, and tropical astrology saying, oh, that's your life purpose, or that's the way that your soul wants to go. Obviously, I'm into astrology now, doing it full time, and I used to, again, not be like that. Pisces is spiritual, not religious. It's a different, I mean, there are, of course, very religious Pisceans like Joe Osteen. He's a Pisces and he runs like a big, big megachurch. But it's more of like me going from the church and being religious to being a very spiritual person now too. So that's obviously I'm a living example of this spirituality, or in this kind of spiritual world. So the North Node Pisces is kind of out of its element. Like I said, North Node actually rules over Aquarius, which is an air sign, and of course Pisces is a water sign. So again, it's out of its element. A lot of times whenever you have a certain planet and a certain zodiac sign paired together, sometimes they don't do well because again, it will naturally rule over a certain sign, and then the sign that you have could again be conflicting type of energy. So although, it's out of its element, obviously there is a positive and negative aspect to every single placement. So it can give you a really like innate desire to achieve your ambitions. But on the other hand, because Pisces can be Delulu, because Pisces lives in La La Land sometimes, it also can be, of course, it's a spiritual sign, but it kind of pushes you towards spiritual growth as well. You could be attracted to things like that are very mystical, the occult, any kind of like occult sciences. And a lot of times it seeks to understand life like at a deeper meaning. Every day I'm literally like, what is life? Um, and if you have Piscean type of energy, you could also be attracted to um, smoking and things like that. And so whenever you do, it takes you into the outer world, the outer realm. And it literally is like, what is life? What is all this? You start to question existence. But a lot of times people who have North Node Pisces can be very, very good guides, like, because of the spiritual path, kind of telling you how to heal yourself, and be again that more spiritual go within type of thing. But then also can be very confused about their own path. And I am not gonna lie and say I have not thought about like, should I really be doing this? But again, studying my birth chart enough now at this point, I think I'm on the right track. But again, that confusion, that delusion, because Pisces, again, this two fish swimming in opposite directions. So you can be like, do I need to be doing this? Because again, you're more comfortable in your south node. You kind of incarnate into this world becoming more comfortable with your south node, and then you start to do things of the north node, and it's like, why am I doing this? Should I be doing this kind of thing? And so that's where I was saying, like, you could be kind of confused about your own path, but again, you could help guide other people in the right direction too. A lot of times people who have this placement can be really good at working alone, or working in a like a research-based field. Again, anything that requires some type of isolation or where the environment is small. Now, as somebody who constantly, and I think it also has to do with my Scorpio rising, but having North Node Pisces, when I was working as a teacher, y'all, like I always wanted kids to get out of my classroom. I would have kids be like, Miss, can I stay in here for lunch? Can I stay? I'm like, no, no, I need my isolation. I need to be by myself. And if I did say yes, it'd be like, it's one or two of you max, because I can't handle that energy. I don't want you talking to me. Like, you can come in here, you could sleep during your lunch or whatever, but do not talk to me, because again, it works better in isolation, or again in smaller environments. That's why I loved the last school I worked at, because I had like 8 kids in a class. It was amazing. But anyways, and so like I said, that North Node Pisces also wants to really like meditate all the time. I find myself a lot now just closing my eyes, talking to myself, going within, and a lot of times it does want to explore things like spirituality, like I said, and go to foreign places. I love traveling. Now, foreign places can mean just the other side of the country. Foreign places can just mean somewhere outside of where you live. It doesn't have to be overseas. It could be, because Pisces, again, it's the 12th house of foreign land. So again, foreign lands, though, does not mean you have to go to Japan or something. But again, you could desire those kind of things going really far. Because you have North Node Pisces, you also have your South Node in Virgo. And if you know anything about Virgo energy, and although I have a Virgo placement, Virgo energy really bothers me. It bothers me because as somebody who is an Aquarius sun, very like nonchalant a lot of times with a lot of things. Like it's just like whatever. The Virgo energy is very critical, perfectionistic, and wherever your South Node sits, you can be very perfectionistic and critical and analytical about that area of life. And so it can be, kind of where you want everything to be done right. And you feel like if I do it like this, then I'll get results like this. And then a lot of times it does not happen that way because that North Node, that Piscean, that, living in dreamland, again, the delusion, all of that, because at one point in your life, the South Node, like it'll get taken away from me. I'll just say it like that. And I'll use myself as an example. I do have my South Node in the 11th house of Aquarius, which is the social networks, the groups. And I actually made a post the other day kind of saying that when it comes to my network, and friend groups or social groups, I'm very practical about it. I am very Virgo-like about it, meaning like, how can we help each other? Virgo is all about service and help and healing and things like that. So I'm not all about the extra fluff. Like I don't need to like in text messages. My friends know already. Like I'm not gonna text you randomly and just be like, "Hey, how are you?" And then just like I'm gonna text you because I need something, and then I need you to give me something, and vice versa. Like what can we do for each other? How can we help? If it's doesn't have anything to do with that, then why are we talking? So that's kind of why I want people to learn astrology because it's not a personal thing, but it's to understand that because that energy rules over that house, that's kind of why I am the way that I am. So a lot of times people can say like, "Oh, you just left me on red or whatever," but because I look at it like, how is this practical? What are we doing here? So that's kind of something too. But again, life will detach you from that area, and that area, of course, I was working in a lot of large social networks and groups all the way up until 2020. And then all of that, of course, got taken away because if you know me, if you've seen my other videos, I used to work in concerts and music festivals and those large organizations, again, helping, being of service in that area. And then, of course, life was like, no more. And then you're going to go towards the fifth house, which is the house of Leo, which is the house of spotlight, which is the house of attention. And again, adding that Piscean theme, spotlight and attention on me, having to tie to spirituality. Does that make sense? And so putting all those things together help me understand why I'm doing what I'm doing now. This is why I want people to study their birth chart so you can feel confident in what you're doing because everyone already knows like what they want, what they like or whatever, but they're not understanding where it's coming from. So that's why I love talking to new clients and looking at birth charts because I'm like, yes, that's where it's coming from. Like you can do that. And so anyways, a lot of times too, these people can do best by working with themselves, like allowing themselves to tap into their imagination. That's another thing too that I've learned within my own self because Pisces again lives in the outer realm. A lot of times when people have 12th house placements or like this is a Pisces house, they can be very creative. They can be very, like not like science fiction writers or any kind of like writers in general that has to use some kind of creativity. It's not really like science fiction, but like Harry Potter, like the lady who wrote Harry Potter and stuff like that, all that is seen again through that Piscean type of energy. So you can find yourself being more creative in certain fields. Obviously, my videos aren't like having all these graphics and things like that, but whenever I do post things on my social media platforms, I can get a little bit more creative and kind of like play with things like Canva and all that kind of stuff to help kind of, boost the image. But as far as this, I just like to be very straightforward, very practical in how I deliver information and all that extra stuff. Like, I just feel like you just don't need it. So also people who have this placement can do really well. And of course, it depends on your entire birth chart, but can do well going into fields of spirituality, maybe with your work, but just in general, like you could just be inclined to it. Actually, I made a post yesterday, day before, of Rihanna speaking on what it's like to be a Pisces. And she just kind of made a statement of, I'll just actually, I'll just play it.
Pisces, we're always going to be emo. That literally is the definition of our zodiac sign.
Yeah, so she also has a North Node in Pisces, which is very, very interesting. I was kind of doing some research on what celebrities have North Node in Pisces, and Rihanna was one of them. And she does talk about being a Pisces quite a bit. Ice Cube has North Node in Pisces. Tyler Perry has North Node in Pisces. Paul Rudd, who plays Ant-Man, he has North Node in Pisces. So, a lot of celebrities do, and it's not to say that they're all astrologers, but they could be more inclined to a spiritual life or speaking on those kind of things. Now, with Tyler Perry, I do see him like always in a church somewhere, you know, preaching about something. That's also seen through there, but that's a whole nother story with that person. But yeah, those people can be into things like spirituality too. And a lot of times these people can like to isolate themselves, sit with themselves just to think like a philosopher. I do that all the time. I'm alone all the time. I like to think all the time. I feel best when I am by myself, which people don't understand how I can do that. Some people cannot sit alone, but I thrive in silence and isolation. So that's something too. A lot of times too, these people can become public speakers, or who travel, dealing with things of spirituality. And remember, spirituality is not religion. There's two different things. Like, and I think sometimes when people hear spiritual, I used to be that person. So I ain't even gonna lie. I used to be that person when I heard spiritual, I don't know what I thought. I was like, you don't believe in God, like, or whatever. Astrology is so crazy. And so I'm less judgmental now, but you can be inclined to, maybe speak on spirituality, not religion, but speak on spirituality. And it's just a placement too that has to just learn how to trust, your own inner guidance and, be more compassionate, because Pisces is the healer of the zodiac as well. So you tend to become more compassionate too. And also just connecting yourself to, the mystical realm. That's also very emphasized. And like I said, I've gone from Judge Judy to now again being more Piscean-like, which, I kind of, uh, Pisces is embodies all signs. And so that's why a lot of times Pisces can get along with a lot of people, really with anyone, because they can adapt. It is a mutable sign. So mutable signs can adapt and adjust to whatever it is that it needs to. So when you have your North Node in Pisces, you start to become more Piscean-like, or you can be more Piscean-like. And so again, really being accepting of a lot of people, really understanding people from a different aspect, the spiritual aspect, and to know that once you learn the energy of people or their signs or even just their sun sign, you're like, oh, I understand what that sign or what that energy means. And so you just become again more accepting and understanding of where people are coming from. Do we get to choose our charts and our birthdays? I don't know. I don't know anything before this, but what I do know is that the more I learn and the more I study, again, the more accepting I become of people, not of every behavior that they do, just an understanding of it all, okay? But anyways, y'all, this is an overall general energy of this sign. If you would like a more in-depth analysis of your actual birth chart, of course, because some of y'all don't like to do the work. Let me tell y'all, I had somebody today tell me, well, there's free information on the internet. Everybody's just giving it all away. Yeah, and there's also information on how to work on your car and car mechanics, but I'm not going to spend the time to do that. I'll just pay somebody who knows how, okay? So there are people out there who don't want to sit and study every single thing, watch 1,000 videos, all right? So you can go ahead and visit me on any social media platform, go to my website, all of that, y'all. Thank y'all so much, and I will see y'all in the next video, which will be North Node in Aquarius.